Barakatah YAHAWAH, BaHa YAHAWASHI, BaHa QADASH. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is Who Are the E's, the Cursed People, the Last Rulers. And this is the last of the series of this lesson or of this topic. And it's funny because just prior to doing this, you had this double Vocab Malone come up with a video where he's saying that the Edomites are done away with, which Elder Yashawamba had put that up on his page. He actually sent it to me yesterday, and that's what the devil does. You got to try to cast doubt, on anything that doesn't have them as the supremacists, or um, the supreme nation. Anything that puts them second, or down, or whatever the case may be, it's got to be moved out the way because these Edomites got to be on top or nothing else. And it's heavy because I just finished watching Elder Pastor's video where he did something, on that, based off what Vocab, the Devil Malone, said. And when you get towards the end of the video, he pretty much, the Spirit had him scrutinize real closely what this Devil Vocab was saying. And pretty much he started to say, but he kind of held his tongue. They don't know where the Edomites are. He said the last mention of the Edomite was Herod. I believe Herod the Great, if I'm not mistaken. But really, you had another Herod mentioned in the scriptures that wasn't Herod the Great. But nevertheless, then you had, Drusilla and, other, but those are women. They'll argue that those are women, and so on and so forth. But he said, we don't know where they went, pretty much. You don't know where they are today, or something along those lines, pretty much saying that they don't know, that they've been done away with, but they really don't know who they are. There's no one today ethnically known as the Edomites or something along those lines. And pretty much, the nationalities of people have been pretty much stripped from them once these devils came into power. When you do the research on the Greeks, which was the first civilization of the Edomites to take hold of an empire in the world, what they did was they changed the names of lands and put their own names on it, things that were more, palatable to them that they can pronounce. So there was a lot of, removal of lands, names, and peoples, beginning with the Greeks, because that's what the devil does. And that's why you have a lot of, darkness, a lot of mystery surrounding the people of the Bible. Now, in certain cases, there's some nations that can be identified still to this day, but then for the most part, most people can't. That's why the scripture said that the Lord was going to destroy in this mountain the veil and the cast is covered, pretty much covering over all these nations, holding them back from who they truly are. So in this lesson, we're going to get into Esau being the last rulers, and this is all also a part of the prophecy. Let me know if it's a little too windy. This is also a part of the prophecy that fits them, and that lets us know that the people that are ruling today are the Edomites, because we're at a point now where the world is at the end. I mean, these are some real serious end times, the very last days of these devils and of this world, of this corrupt society. And the people that are ruling are so-called white people. So by process of elimination, we know that they are the Edomites. So when we read 2nd Ezra in the Apocrypha 6 and 7, it says, "Then answered I and said, What shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth?" Because prior to that, in the 4th chapter, the Lord said, "THAWADAH, brother, THAWADAH, elder." In the prior to this, in the 4th chapter, the Lord said to him, to Ezra, that if this particular world that is now, that is sown in wickedness, be not taken down, then the next world cannot come. So Ezra is asking now, a couple of chapters later, what is going to be the sign of that coming? What is going to be the parting asunder of the times? When is going to be the end of the first and the beginning of the next one? Because when you check out the prophets always wanted to know, when was the kingdom coming? When was the Messiah coming? Suffer what he had to suffer. And then they knew that, the kingdom of heaven will come after that. So they always inquired about the end. They always hastened the time. They always hastened the end. They always wanted the end to come. So it says, and he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. And that was symbolic of how the Israelites would take the Edomites down. The main one being YAHAWASHI, who was of the tribe of Judah, but also the rest of the tribes. The scriptures tell us in Daniel, the 7th chapter, that, and the 7th chapter, the 18th and the 27th verse, that the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom. You see? So we should have the same attitude as, when is this devil going down? Hastening the day, daily, wishing it was today, even though we know that there's still prophecies that have to be fulfilled, like the MO to the TB, which the infrastructure is already there. Everything's being pushed. I just read an article earlier where the Space Force, there was a so-called black woman there. I mean, she had a super, super, super proud look. I mean, my goodness, how proud can you get? And pretty much they're going to be tracking their vitals, not by physical examination, but by some bracelets that some life bracelets that they're going to be putting on them, which pretty much that's all a part of the whole system that they're going to put, where they're going to put something under the skin, subdermal, and that's all leading to the end of this world. But we should be hastening the day daily, wishing that today was the day, even though we know that there's still prophecies that have to be fulfilled. So it says, and he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born to him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau, because even from that point on began the end of days, the last days. For Esau is the end of the world. So the scriptures is telling us that when Esau is ruling, he would be ruling at the end, because they would be the end of the world. You had many different societies, many different nations that conquered other nations, built or colonized other nations, built empires, and all the way to what you see today, this great American empire, which is nothing more than the revival of the ancient Roman Empire, coupled with the EU and NATO, which makes up that whole beast system. Let's go real quick before we finish that verse up. Let's go real quick to the book of Ecclesiastes. There's a couple of precepts in Ecclesiastes that hit the point on dealing with empires, rulerships, time periods. Let me get this other one that came to mind. Okay, cool. Let me go to Ecclesiastes. Let's go to the 3rd chapter in the 1st verse. It says, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. So everything has its time and chance. As we read in Ecclesiastes, the 9th chapter, time and chance happen to all men. And it's no different now. We're at the very end where the last rulership or the last ruling empire would be governing and ruling on the planet Earth, prior to our Lord YAHAWASHI coming back to take them down. The signs are there. Everything points to this devil being, the Edomites being the devil, being the wicked. Also, all the signs are there letting us know that the end of this world is here. Everything that YAHAWASHI spoke about, everything that we read about in the scriptures, dealing with the end and the things that will usher in the end. We're at it right now. We're here right now. So this is how we know that the last rulers are these Edomites. And I read another article earlier where they said pretty much, you know, I can't remember exactly how it went, but it's something along the lines of the dollar losing that power, which you know it's been going on, but that economic power that it had to sway over the entire planet Earth. That's waning on them, you know. And that's another sign that this place is finished. So it goes on to say, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which was planted. So we're in a time now where this American empire was planted already, but now we're at the point where it's about to be plucked up. Everything has a beginning, everything has an end. The only thing that doesn't have an end is the kingdom of heaven, which is the kingdom of Yahawah Bashem Yahushai / the Israelites. That's the only thing that's not going to have an end. It's a world without end, or an age, an extended age, you know, time after time after time after time after time. Because the saints shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever and ever. All right. So let's go. Let me see what else we got. A time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up. And we're in a time of breaking down. Now, when you read some of the history on, you know, recently these devils been saying not Babylon, that the Edomites have been totally taken out. That is evident in the in Petra, because even this devil Vocab mentioned that Petra is desolate. You know, there's nothing there. Yeah, that is true. But what do the scriptures say about that? Let's go real quick. I'm gonna give you a view of the scenery in a minute. Malachi chapter 1 verse 4. It says, whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Now, it's not talking about those actual desolate places like Mount Seir, Petra, which Petra's name, one of its ancient names was Sila or Selah, which means rock. You know, this is talking about their rebuilding of their empire. Because remember, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, so they had to reemerge somewhere. So they started off as the Greeks, then they were absorbed into the Romans. Then you have the Spanish, the French. You know, you have the Germanian Major, Germanian Minor. You have Britain, and you have let me see, the Greeks, the Romans, the French, the Spanish. Salakia. It says the Greeks, the Romans, the French, the Spanish, Germanian Major, Germanian Minor, and Britain. Those are all the empires of Esau that ruled. Then you would have an eighth empire, which would be America, that stemmed out of the seven, because she came out of the seven. And when this particular empire is established, it's going to be established to be what? Destroyed. And that's why the Lord is allowing all this stuff to happen. You know, all this alternative lifestyle and, you know, this strange flesh chasing, you know, that's going on, you know, throughout, running rampant here, you know, in Babylon the Great. You know, it's vexing, but it's necessary, because this is what the Lord is going to use to judge this place, and that's why it's necessary. You know, so on the one hand, you know, we get mad, but on the other hand, we know that it's a necessary thing for the Lord to do that, because that's how the Lord is going to bring this to a total devastation and destruction. They had a video where I believe it was a Disney I'm not sure if it was a show or whatever the case it was. You know, pretty much a show for like kids, little kids, like 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, speaking about tampons and, you know, men having periods and all kind of crazy shit like that. So it's a total perverse spirit that's here in America, which the Most High put it upon them, because the Lord said He mingled a perverse spirit in Egypt. You know, and I wonder if that was Elder Apostle Gabar just drove by. All right. So it goes on to say, it says, Whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. Because remember, once this place, America, Babylon the Great, was established, it was established to go into perdition or to be destroyed. It says, and they shall call them the border of wickedness. Yeah, because wherever these devils are at, they are the wicked. Their borders are the borders of wickedness. That's why it says, as the judge of a city is, or a people is, so are the people. And you can see that in the perverse nature of these people here today in America. You know, no other nation on the planet is as perverse as this place. You know, as undisciplined as this place. And I mean, you could bring out a whole laundry list of this shit that's done here. It says, and the people against whom the Lord has indignation forever, because they were created to be destroyed. You know, so there's a time and chance for everything. A time for something to be built, a time for something to be cast down. And when we read down in the third verse, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up. Verse 5, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together. Yeah, and this is the time the Lord is using to cast away stones. And this very way that this empire was set up with all these different buildings and high rises, skyscrapers, and everything that you see in between, businesses, whatever it may be, cars, trucks, you know, parks, whatever the case may be, it's all going to be fuel for the fire. That's why the scripture say that the elements shall melt with fervent heat. You see? Let me see. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time of love and a time of hate. A time of war and a time of peace. And we're not in a time of peace. This ain't no peaceful world. Inside joke. So we go to the 8th chapter in the 6th verse. It says, because to every because to every purpose there is time and judgment. Therefore the misery of man is great upon him. Yeah, because we're at the end of this place. You know, it's like it says, to every purpose there is time and judgment. They were given a particular amount of time. Their time is up. You didn't use that time wisely, so now you're about to be judged. It says, for he knoweth not that which shall be, for who can tell him when it shall be, right? Because these devils don't think they're ever going down. You know, they got a plan A, plan B, plan C, plan Z. You know, the Z of the game, inside joke. And then they started all over again from plan 1 all the way up. All right. So that pretty much is it on that. Let's go real quick from there to, let me get this other precept and then get this other one I got here. I can let this go. All right, let's get Daniel chapter 4 and 17. This matter is by the decree of the watchers and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the bases of men. Right, because the Lord gave a time and a chance to every nation that is on the planet, and Esau being the last rulers of this last empire, or last heathen empire, because Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be come in. All right, just bear with me 1 second. Okay. So, jumping from there, let's go to the book of Jeremiah 28:8. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms, of war and of evil and of pestilence. Right. And this is what we're prophesying right now, because the Lord made us prophets unto the nations. And we're prophesying the demise and destruction of this great empire, America, Babylon the Great, which is to be destroyed. And there is no nation under heaven where all nations of the world have been made rich by the abundance of her delicacies. You ain't gonna find that. And even though China's, on the come up, people are coming here to America. This is what. How do you think China became so great and so powerful and so wealthy? Because of Babylon the Great, America. Not because of the Vatican Church or the Vatican City. Ain't nobody getting rich off of that. If anything, people are getting ripped off, raped. Little kids fondled and molested. Ain't nobody going there to trade their wares with that hoe. All right, so Psalms chapter 75 and verse 5. Lift not up your horn on high, speak not with a stiff neck. Right. A horn represents power. Don't lift your horn on high, your power on high with a stiff neck, acting all proud. It says for promotion, what is a promotion? When you're raised up to a new position. In this case, the promotion of what? Of kingdoms, of empires. It says, for promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south. Right, so it's not a thing where you sit down and have these meetings like you had your so-called Bretton Woods agreement. You had different, think tank, your Bohemian Grove would just pass the last 2 weeks of July. You have Bohemian Grove to discuss world policies, of things that are to take place, in the coming years or whatever the case may be, or coming decades. Rulers setting up, plans on the economy and, different products or whatever they're going to sell, and different events that they're going to do, and who's going to be set up as the next ruler of China, or the next ruler of Pakistan, or the next ruler of whatever nation. It's not coming like that. It ain't coming through the council of men. We just read that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men. It says, but the Most High is the judge. Yahawah Bashem Yahushai is the judge. He putteth down one and setteth up another. That's right. So the Lord is the one that set up. Oh, yeah, just precept that I read here just reminded me. This was another one of the scriptures that when I read it, I said this will go good with this particular lesson. This is Daniel, the 2nd chapter. We read this the other day. Daniel 2 and 21. It says, matter of fact, I started 20. It said, Daniel answered and said, blessed be the name of the Most High Yahawah Bashem Yahushai forever and ever. For wisdom and might are his. And he changeth the times and the seasons. He removeth kings and setteth up kings. See? So the Lord takes kings down. He takes kings down and sets kings up. He picks things up and sets them down. He give inside joke. He giveth wisdom unto the wise and knowledge to them that know understanding. Yeah, so the Lord is the one that's changing the guard. The next guard that's coming is the final guard, which is Yahawashi, Yahawah Bashem Yahushai, and the Israelites. That's going to be the last change. There's not going to be any more changing of guards after that. So when we read back here in 2nd Ezra 6 and 8, 9, for Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth, it means just that. And the final rulers to rule this empire or this world are going to be the Edomites, the so-called white people that are ruling right now. It's evident. If you look around and your eyes are open, you see that this place is finished. All the prophecies are coming to pass. Everything is happening just as Yahushua laid it down to the disciples before his coming. So when we read Isaiah 34, I was going to read the whole chapter, but I'm just going to read a couple of points here and a couple of points on another precept. If anything else come up, I'll bring it out. If not, Lord's will, I end it there. And if the Spirit allows, do something else, maybe later or whenever the Spirit allows. This is Isaiah 34, right? And pretty much what's going to bring the end of this devil's world besides Yahushua, the angels and the chariots, is this nuclear missile, these nuclear missiles that the Lord gave them the technology to use, because he says he creates the waster to destroy. And that's what's going to bring the total demise of the Edomites. So it says this is the Isaiah 34:4. It says, and all the host of heaven shall be dissolved. What's that talking about? That's talking about, you're going to have clouds up there, and you're going to have, from the devastation and the so-called mushroom clouds, as they call them, you're going to have a blotting out or blacking out of the sun, moon, stars for a certain period of time over this side of the world. It says, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll. And that's where you get the term so-called mushroom cloud. It says, and all their hosts shall fall down. Right, because when this happens, all of the planes, that are up in there, the jet fighters and all that, they're gonna come crashing down. And then the scriptures say that the birds of the air are gonna shake when that day comes. It says, and all their hosts shall fall down, as a leaf falleth from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. So when this happens, which brings the end of the world, who's going to be rulership? For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, the people of my curse, to judgment. So these are the people that will be in power when the Lord comes back. It says, the sword of the Lord is filled with blood. It is made fat with the fatness and with the blood of the lambs and goats and the fat of kidneys and rams, meaning people, military men, nobles. For the Lord hath a sacrifice in Basra, which is another code name for America, which was the city of Edom or Esau, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. So they're going to be in power when the Lord comes back. And that's not an accident, or that's not a coincidence that they will be in power when the Lord comes back. All right, so let me give you a view of the this is Isaiah 63:1. Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the strength and the greatness. In the greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. This is YAHAWASHI coming back to take this devil down, because they're gonna be the final rulers in the world prior to YAHAWASHI coming back. And even David Guzik, which was presented with this scripture, even he said, yeah, that's what it's talking about, that the Edomites will be in power when the Lord comes back. But he doesn't agree with that, or something along those lines. He said, it don't matter if you don't agree with it or not. It's biblical prophecy. You can't. What if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect? The Lord forbid. Let the Most High be true, but every man a liar. So it don't matter if you agree with it or not. It's still going to happen. You're just in denial. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat? Meaning from all the death that the Lord is going to bring upon Esau and the other nations. And it's not meaning that he's going to have blood on his actual garments, meaning he's going to be credited with the destruction and devastation and the blood of all these people. Remember, the scriptures say that the slain of the Lord shall be many. It says, I have trodden down the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me. Right, only the angels are going to be with YAHAWASHI. For I will tread them in mine anger and trample them in my fury. You could read Revelation 14 to get even a more vivid picture of what this is speaking about. And their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment, meaning he's going to get the credit for taking these devils down. This is why he's also known as the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. It says, for the day of vengeance is in my heart, and the year of the... I'm sorry, let me read that again. For the day of vengeance is in mine heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. Right. So this is... we're in the final moments of these Edomites' empire, so-called white man that's ruling, beginning with the international banker families that are the small hats. They're destined to be destroyed because the Lord said so. No matter what man say, or the people are done away with. Well, the scriptures say that there is no end of all people, even of all that have been before us. The only people that were ever told in the scriptures that they would be totally done away with are the Edomites, and that hasn't happened yet because YAHAWASHI got to come back and take them down. And once YAHAWASHI comes back and takes them down, Then they're going to go into captivity with the other nations for 1,000 years. Then after that 1,000 years, they'll be totally annihilated. So Barakateh Hawabashim Yahushai for that. You know, so with that, this has been the conclusion of who are the E's, the cursed people. The final one is the last rulers. So with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. To the next time I say Shalom.